My wife told me not to come to her company party because her ex would be there, and she didn't want him to feel uncomfortable. Poor thing. That's what I thought when Alyssa said it, standing in our kitchen with her coffee cup halfway to her lips, eyes doing that thing where they don't quite meet mine. You know the look. The one that says, "I'm lying, but I've practiced this enough that you won't catch it." "Daniel's going to be there," she said, setting the cup down with a soft clink. "And you know how awkward it was last time." Last time. Right. The last time was 6 months ago at some networking mixer where I'd shaken his hand and he'd squeezed a little too hard, smiled a little too wide. Marketing guys. They're all the same. Teeth like game show hosts and handshakes that feel like threats. "I don't want things to be weird," Alyssa continued, already turning away to check her phone. Always the phone. "You understand, right? It's a work thing anyway. You'd be bored." I nodded, said sure, watched her smile with relief, and wondered when I'd become the kind of man who just nodded and said sure. That was 3 days before the party. 3 days I spent thinking about Daniel with his perfect hair and his corner office, and the way Alyssa's voice changed when she mentioned him. Higher, faster, like she was 15 again instead of 34. So yeah, I went to the party. I put on my good suit, the charcoal one I'd bought for my brother's wedding 2 years back. Shaved close, used the cologne Alyssa bought me for Christmas, and never commented on when I wore it. I looked at myself in the bathroom mirror and thought, you look like a man who's about to catch his wife doing something she shouldn't. The venue was one of those upscale hotel ballrooms downtown, the kind with crystal chandeliers that probably cost more than my car. I walked in through the main entrance at 8:15, fashionably late, scanning the crowd of corporate types with their cocktails and their practiced laughs. Found her in 90 seconds. She was wearing the red dress, the one I'd never seen before, the one that definitely wasn't hanging in our closet last week. And her hand was locked with his, fingers intertwined like high school sweethearts at a dance. Daniel. Tall, handsome Daniel with his PR smile and his expensive watch. They were standing near the bar, heads close together, and she was laughing at something he'd said. Really laughing. The kind of laugh I hadn't heard from her in months. Then she saw me. Her face did this thing, this microscopic freeze before the smile clicked into place. And her hand, the one wrapped around his, dropped like she'd been holding a hot coal. Just let go. Smooth. Practiced. Daniel turned, followed her gaze, and I watched his expression shift from confused to comprehend to careful neutrality in about 2 seconds. He was good. I'd give him that. I walked over, slow, deliberate. Let them both watch me cross that polished floor. "Jason," Alyssa said, and her voice was bright, brittle. "I didn't think you were coming." "Change my mind," I said, looking at Daniel. Didn't want to miss the chance to see old friends. Daniel extended his hand. I shook it. His palm was slightly damp. "Good to see you, man," he said. The word man landed wrong, too casual, too familiar. "Is it?" I asked. Silence, the kind that spreads like a stain. Alyssa laughed, that high, nervous laugh, and touched my arm. "Let me get you a drink," she said. I'm good." I pulled my phone from my pocket, made a show of checking it, but what I was really doing was opening the camera app and snapping a quick photo of them standing there, close enough that anyone looking would assume they were together. "Actually, I think I'll just circulate. You two catch up." I walked away. Didn't look back. Didn't need to. The rest of the party was a blur of small talk and forced smiles. I shook hands with Alyssa's co-workers, the ones I'd met at previous events. They all seemed surprised to see me. "Alyssa said you couldn't make it," one woman named Jennifer said, sipping something pink and fruity. "Last-minute change," I told her. Around 9, Alyssa found me near the dessert table, her face flushed from champagne or panic, probably both. "We need to talk," she said quietly, leaning in so no one else would hear. "Later, at home." "Sure," I said, and bit into a chocolate-covered strawberry. Looking forward to it. But we both knew there wouldn't be a we much longer. I left at 9:30, walked out into the cool night air, and sat in my car for 10 minutes just thinking. My phone buzzed. Text from Alyssa. "Where did you go?" I didn't respond. Instead, I pulled up the photo I'd taken. Alyssa and Daniel standing too close, her hand still in motion from letting go of his. The timestamp read 8:17 p.m. I saved it to a new folder on my phone, called it Evidence. Then I drove home, poured myself a whiskey, and started planning. The thing about being an IT support specialist is that people assume you're boring. They see you as the guy who fixes their printer, resets their password, explains for the 15th time why they can't open that suspicious email attachment. They don't see you as someone who understands systems, networks, data flow. They especially don't see you as someone who can find things they'd rather keep hidden. I started small. Our phone bill. We'd been on a family plan for 6 years, and I had full access to the account. I logged in Tuesday morning while Alyssa was in the shower, scrolling through the call logs from the past 3 months. There it was, a number I didn't recognize, showing up 2, 3, sometimes 5 times a day. Late-night calls, early morning calls, calls that lasted 30, 40 minutes. I cross-referenced the dates with my calendar. With the nights Alyssa said she was working late, with the weekends she'd gone to team-building events. Every single time. I ran the number through a reverse lookup, came back unlisted, but I'm patient. I'm good at this. I pulled up LinkedIn, searched for Daniel's profile, marketing director at Sterling & Associates, graduated from Northwestern, previously worked at Bennett Communications. Then, I did something that probably wasn't strictly legal, but I'm past caring about that now. I used an old admin backdoor, one they never bothered to close at my company, to access the regional cell tower data. Cross-referenced the unlisted number with location pings. The number belonged to Daniel. And for the past 3 months, his phone and Alyssa's phone had been in the same location at least 4 times a week. Hotels, coffee shops, once, his apartment complex on the north side. I printed everything, made a spreadsheet. Times, dates, locations. I'm good with spreadsheets. That's when I started the log. I bought a small notebook, the kind you can slip into a pocket, and I started writing down every lie, every inconsistency. Tuesday, September 12th. Alyssa says she has a late meeting with the creative team. Location data shows her phone at the Riverside Hotel from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Daniel's phone, same location, same times. Wednesday, September 13th. Alyssa mentions Daniel casually at dinner. He's being considered for a promotion. Really talented guy. Tone, admiring. Duration of mention, 3 minutes. Number of times she's mentioned me being talented. 0, past 6 months. I kept going, filled pages. The notebook became my anchor, my proof that I wasn't losing my mind. Thursday afternoon, I called Lisa. We'd worked together at my old company before I'd moved to the current gig. She'd gone into digital marketing, bounced around a few firms. Last I'd heard, she was at a place called Velocity Media. "Jason," she said when she answered, sounding surprised. "Wow, it's been what, 2 years?" "About that," I said. "Listen, I know this is random, but you used to work at Bennett Communications, right?" "For about 18 months, yeah. Why?" "Did you ever come across a guy named Daniel? Marketing guy, moved over to Sterling & Associates?" There was a pause, long enough to be meaningful. "Daniel Patterson?" "That's him." Another pause. "Jason, are you okay? Just answer the question." "Yeah, I knew him. Everyone knew him. Look, I don't want to spread rumors, but he's got a reputation." "What kind of reputation?" "The kind where he goes through relationships like business cards. Had a thing with a junior account manager at Bennett, then a client, then someone from another firm. Guy's smooth, I'll give him that, but he's also kind of a predator." "Why are you asking?" I closed my eyes. "Because I think he's with my wife." Lisa didn't say anything for a long time. Then, "Oh, Jason, I'm sorry." "Don't be," I said. "I'm going to handle it." We talked for another 20 minutes. She told me things about Daniel's pattern, about how he'd brag quietly to his buddies at industry events, about the time someone's husband had confronted him and he'd played innocent, made the guy look crazy. "There's something else," Lisa said finally. "About 3 months ago, there was a corporate retreat. Sterling and Associates rented out this place upstate. I heard through a friend who works there that Daniel was talking about someone named Alyssa. Said she was helping him advance his career." "Helping him how?" "She's on some kind of advisory board, right? Apparently she vouched for him, got him recommended for a director-level position." I thanked her, told her I owed her. She said to call if I needed anything, and I believed her. That night, Alyssa came home at 7:30, which was early for her these days. She found me in the living room, laptop open, notebook beside me. "What are you working on?" she asked, setting down her purse. "Just organizing some files," I said. "How was your day?" "Long, exhausting. I need a glass of wine." She poured herself a glass of white from the fridge, came back, curled up on the opposite end of the couch. We sat there in silence, the TV playing some mindless show neither of us watched. "You've been quiet lately," she said eventually. "Is everything okay?" I looked at her, really looked at her. She was beautiful. Always had been. Sharp features, dark hair, eyes that could sell you anything. She'd sold me once. The dream of a life together. The promise of forever. "Everything's fine," I said, "just thinking about work stuff." She nodded, seemed satisfied, went back to her wine and her phone. I went back to my notebook, added another entry. Thursday, September 21st. Wife asks if everything is okay. Tone, concerned but distant. Follow-up questions, 0. Time until she checked her phone, 14 seconds. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed next to Alyssa, listening to her breathe, and I thought about how easy it would be to confront her, to throw the evidence in her face and watch her scramble for explanations. But that's not revenge. That's just anger. Revenge takes planning, strategy, time. So I got up, went to my office, and started mapping out a plan. I pulled up Daniel's LinkedIn again, his company's website, every piece of information I could find about Sterling and Associates, their clients, their reputation, their vulnerabilities. By 3 a.m., I had the beginning of something. Not complete yet, but a shape, a direction. I thought about a story I'd read once, about a chess grandmaster who said the key to winning wasn't about making the best move, it was about forcing your opponent to make the worst one. I could do that. I was good at systems, good at finding the pressure points, and I had all the time in the world. I rejoined the gym on a Monday, not because I needed to work out, though that was part of it, but because I needed to build myself back into someone who looked like they had options. Someone who didn't look like they'd been slowly dissolving for the past year while their wife carried on with someone else. The gym was called Apex Fitness, one of those places with too many mirrors and motivational quotes on the walls. I signed up for a year membership, paid up front, and started going every morning at 6. Weights, cardio, nothing crazy, just consistent. By the second week, I could see the difference. Shoulders filling out the shirts I'd been swimming in, jaw looking sharper in the mirror. I bought new clothes. Not expensive, but better. Shirts that fit. Jeans that didn't look like I'd owned them since college. Alyssa noticed. Of course she noticed. "You look good," she said one morning, watching me button up a navy shirt I'd picked up over the weekend. "New clothes?" "Thought it was time," I said. She smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. "Well, they look nice." I thanked her and left for work. The thing is, I wasn't doing it for her. I was doing it because I needed to stop being invisible. To her, to myself, to everyone. I called Lisa again that Wednesday, asked if she wanted to grab coffee. We met at a place called The Blend, neutral territory between our offices. She was already there when I arrived, sitting at a corner table with a laptop open and a latte going cold beside it. "You look different," she said as I sat down. "Good different." "Thanks. Been working on it." "So." She closed the laptop, leaned back. "You said you wanted to talk strategy." I like that about Lisa. No small talk, no pretense, just business. "I want to expose them," I said, "but not in a way that makes me look crazy, not in a way they can spin or explain away. I want it public, professional, devastating." Define devastating. Career-ending, reputation-destroying, the kind of thing that follows them. Lisa nodded slowly. "You're talking about a coordinated takedown." "I'm talking about giving them exactly what they deserve." She looked at me for a long moment, then pulled out her phone. "Okay, here's what I know. Sterling and Associates has a reputation to maintain. They're courting a big client right now, some healthcare conglomerate that's very image-conscious. If there's even a whiff of scandal, especially involving workplace ethics, that client walks." "How do you know this?" "I have a friend in their HR department. We get drinks sometimes." She complains. Lisa smiled. "The point is, Sterling is vulnerable right now, and Daniel is a VP candidate. If he goes down hard." "What about Alyssa?" "She's on the marketing advisory board. If she's been using her position to advance Daniel's career in exchange for whatever they're doing, that's a conflict of interest. Maybe worse." I felt something cold and sharp settle in my chest. "So we make it impossible for them to deny. We make it impossible for anyone to ignore." Over the next hour, we planned. Lisa had connections, access, information. She'd worked in the industry long enough to know who to talk to, what to leak, how to make something spread. "First thing," she said, "we need undeniable proof, photos, timestamps, paper trail. You've got the phone records?" "I've got everything." "Good. We'll need more. Can you tail them?" "I can try." "Then do it. Document everything. Make it airtight." I started that weekend. Saturday afternoon, Alyssa said she was meeting a friend for lunch. I said fine, watched her leave, then gave her a 10-minute head start before I followed. She went to the Riverside Hotel, same place the phone records had shown. I parked across the street, watched the entrance. 20 minutes later, Daniel showed up. Walked in like he owned the place. I waited. They came out 3 hours later. I took photos. Long lens camera I'd ordered online, nothing fancy but good enough. Got a shot of them walking out together, his hand on her lower back. Another of them getting into his car together, a black Audi that probably cost more than I made in 6 months. I followed them, kept 3 cars back. They drove to a neighborhood I didn't recognize, stopped at a house that was definitely not Daniel's apartment. He parked in the driveway. They went inside. I sat in my car across the street, watching. Took notes. Checked property records on my phone. The house belonged to a woman named Patricia Caldwell. Ran a search. She was Daniel's mother. Meeting the family. Great. They stayed for 2 hours. I got photos of them leaving. Daniel leaning in to open Alyssa's car door. Her laughing at something he said. I drove home, uploaded everything to my computer, backed it up on 3 separate drives. That night, Alyssa came home humming. Actually humming. She found me in the living room and asked what I wanted for dinner. "Whatever you want," I said. "Pizza? We haven't had pizza in forever." "Sure." We ordered pizza, ate it on the couch. She talked about her day, some story about a client meeting that went well. I nodded in the right places, said, "That's great," at appropriate intervals. She had no idea. The next week, I expanded my surveillance. Tuesday, I followed Daniel from his office. He went to a bar called The Lantern, met up with 3 guys in suits. They laughed a lot, ordered expensive drinks. Around 9, one of them asked something, and Daniel pulled out his phone, showed them a photo. They all grinned. I wondered if it was a photo of Alyssa. Thursday. Daniel left work early. I followed him to a boutique store downtown, watched through the window as he bought something. Jewelry. He walked out with a small bag, distinctive logo. I went in after he left, asked the clerk what he'd purchased. She said she couldn't share customer information. I said I understood, left, went home and checked Alyssa's jewelry box. Found a new bracelet. Silver with small diamonds. Added it to the log. Friday night, I stayed late at work. Not because I had to, but because I needed to be seen as someone who was busy, committed, not sitting at home obsessing. I came home at 9. Alyssa was on the phone in the bedroom. When she saw me, she said, "I've got to go," and hung up. "Who was that?" I asked. "Just Jennifer from work. Girl talk." "At 9 p.m. on a Friday?" "Yeah, she's having relationship problems. Needed someone to talk to." I nodded, added it to the log. Saturday morning, while Alyssa was at her yoga class, I went through her laptop. She'd left it open, which was careless. Or maybe she thought I'd never look. Found emails, lots of them, to Daniel. Subject lines like, "Thinking of you" and "Can't wait for Tuesday." Nothing explicit, but enough. Enough to prove intent. I copied everything to a flash drive, put it with the rest. That afternoon, Lisa texted me. "Got something. Can you meet?" We met at the Blend again. She looked excited. "Remember I said I have a friend in HR at Sterling?" she said. "She let something slip. Daniel's being considered for VP of Client Relations. Big promotion. Announcement's supposed to happen next month at their corporate gala. So if we time this right, if we expose them right before that announcement, it doesn't just ruin him. It humiliates everyone who vouched for him, including Alyssa." "Tell me more." "The gala's black tie, invitation only, but I can get you in. I know one of the event planners, and once you're in, we can do whatever we need to do." I leaned back, thinking. We'd need something big, something that can't be brushed off or contained. "Then we make it big," Lisa said. "We make it impossible to ignore." We kept planning, every detail, every angle. Lisa was good at this. Better than I expected. Maybe she had her own reasons for wanting to see people like Daniel taken down. I didn't ask. By the end of October, I had everything I needed. Photos, emails, phone records, witness statements from Lisa's contacts who'd seen them together at industry events. A timeline that showed Alyssa had recommended Daniel for 2 separate promotions, both times within days of their hotel meetings. It was airtight. Now I just needed the right moment to deploy it. The thing about corporate scandals is they don't explode out of nowhere. They simmer. They build. You drop a word here, a hint there, and pretty soon people are connecting dots you didn't even have to draw. I started in early November. First, I reached out to Sterling & Associates' main competitor, a firm called Brightside Solutions. Used a burner email, claimed to be a concerned employee with information about ethical violations at Sterling. Didn't give specifics, just enough to make them curious. They bit. Responded within 12 hours, asking for details. I sent them a carefully edited summary, Daniel's relationship with a board member, recommendations based on personal connection rather than merit, possible conflict of interest. Didn't mention Alyssa by name, not yet. 2 days later, Lisa called. "It's working. Someone at Brightside mentioned something to someone at Sterling. Word's getting around." "Good," I said. "Jason, are you sure about this? Once we start, there's no going back." "I'm already past the point of no return." "Okay," she said. "Then let's make it count." Next, I created a fake LinkedIn profile, generic photo, believable background. Started connecting with people who worked at Sterling, specifically in HR and compliance. Posted vague updates about workplace ethics and transparency. Nothing obvious, just enough to plant seeds. Then I waited. While I waited, I kept watching, following, documenting. Daniel and Alyssa met 3 more times that month. Same hotel, same pattern. I got photos each time, built a portfolio that would make a private investigator proud. November 8th, Tuesday evening, I followed them to a restaurant called the Garden Room. Expensive, quiet. The kind of place you take someone when you want privacy. I sat 3 tables away, ordered wine, watched them through the reflection in a mirror on the wall. They held hands across the table, leaned in close. Daniel said something that made Alyssa laugh, that genuine laugh I used to think was just for me. The waiter came by their table. "Can I get you anything else?" "Just the check," Daniel said. "We have plans after this." I bet they did. When they left, I stayed, finished my wine, left a generous tip. The waiter came by to collect the payment. "Those two," I said casually. "The couple that just left, they come here often?" He glanced toward the door. "Yeah, actually, once or twice a week for the past month or so. Nice couple." "Yeah," I said. "Nice couple." I added the restaurant to my log. Another location, another pattern. Mid-November, Sterling announced their annual charity gala. December 15th, the place to be seen if you worked in corporate marketing. Black tie, silent auction, speeches from executives. Lisa called me the next day. "Did you see the announcement?" "I saw it. I can get you in. I know one of the event planners, but Jason, this has to be perfect. One mistake and—" "It'll be perfect," I interrupted. "Trust me." "I do trust you. That's what worries me." She got me the invitation, told them I was her +1, that I worked in tech consulting. They didn't question it. Why would they? "This is it," Lisa said when she handed me the cream-colored envelope. "This is where we do it." "Do what exactly?" She smiled. "I've been working on something, a presentation, photos, emails, timelines, everything laid out like a corporate case study. We're going to show it at the gala." "How?" "Leave that to me. I have a friend who works audiovisual for these events. He owes me a favor." "Lisa, if this goes wrong, it won't go wrong. We've come too far." Late November, I made another move. I reached out anonymously to a tech blogger named Ryan Chambers, who specialized in corporate gossip. Sent him a blind item. Which rising VP at a prestigious marketing firm is sleeping his way to the top with help from a board member? He posted it within hours. The comments section exploded with speculation. People threw out names, not Daniel's yet, but close. The net was tightening. That night, Alyssa came home late, found me in the living room with my laptop. "You're still up," she said. "Couldn't sleep." She sat down on the couch, kicked off her heels. "Long day, the office is crazy right now." "Yeah? What's going on?" "Just drama. Office politics. Someone's been spreading rumors." "About what?" She hesitated. "About relationships, inappropriate conduct. It's all nonsense, but HR has to investigate anyway." "Sounds stressful," I said, not looking up from my screen. "It is. Daniel's really worried. He thinks someone's trying to sabotage him before the VP announcement." "Is someone?" "I don't know. Maybe. Corporate world can be vicious." I nodded, kept typing. "I'm sure it'll work out." She studied me for a moment. "You've been distant." "Just busy with work." "Are you sure? You seem, I don't know, different." "Different how?" "I can't explain it. You're just not yourself." I wanted to laugh. I wanted to tell her that I was more myself than I'd been in years, but instead I said, "I'm fine. Maybe you're the one who's different." She looked at me strangely, then went to the bedroom. I stayed up until 3 a.m., refining my plan. Every detail had to be perfect. Every piece had to fall into place. Early December, I played my next card. I sent an anonymous email to Sterling's HR department. Detailed complaint about inappropriate conduct between a board member and an employee. Attached one photo. Just one. Daniel and Alyssa walking into the Riverside Hotel. Date stamp visible. Professional but damning. I included a note. "This has been going on for months. Multiple employees have witnessed it. Thought someone should know before it becomes a bigger problem. HR had to investigate. It was policy. Lisa's friend confirmed it. They opened a file. Started asking quiet questions. Daniel got nervous. I could tell because he and Alyssa stopped meeting at the hotel, started being more careful. But careful doesn't help when someone's already documented everything. December 5th. I met Lisa at a coffee shop downtown. HR's asking questions, she said, sliding into the booth across from me. Nothing formal yet, but people are talking. Good. Daniel's been telling people it's a misunderstanding, that someone doctored the photos. Let him say whatever he wants. The truth will come out. Lisa pulled out her laptop. I want to show you something. She opened a file, the presentation she'd been working on, slide after slide of evidence, photos, emails, phone records, all organized chronologically. This is incredible, I said. This is 3 months of work. Yours and mine. This is airtight. When do we deploy it? At the gala, during the speeches. We'll override their presentation, show this instead. Everyone will see it. There'll be no denying it. I leaned back. They'll try to stop it. They won't have time. By the time they realize what's happening, it'll be too late. December 10th. 5 days before the gala. I had one more card to play, and it involved Daniel's car. I didn't do it myself. That would have been stupid. Instead, I found someone who already hated Daniel. Took some digging, but I found her. A woman named Amanda who used to work at Sterling. Daniel had dated her, dumped her, then cost her a promotion by spreading rumors when she tried to complain. I reached out, anonymous email, told her where Daniel parked his car every day, told her he was about to get the promotion she deserved, suggested she might want to express her feelings about that. Her response came 30 minutes later. Who is this? I wrote back, someone who knows what he did to you, someone who thinks it's time he faced consequences. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to know he's about to get everything while you got nothing. What you do with that information is up to you. She did what I hoped she'd do. Monday morning, December 11th, Daniel walked out to find his Audi with smashed windows and a note on the windshield. Karma, written in lipstick across the driver's side. Lisa sent me a photo someone had posted to the company chat. Daniel standing there, shocked, security around him. Someone in the comments wrote, maybe he finally pushed the wrong person. Another comment. Heard he's been messing around with someone on the board, drama following him everywhere. I smiled. That evening, Daniel tried to find me. Actually showed up at my office building. I saw him from the window, pacing near the entrance like a caged animal. His rental car was parked illegally at the curb. I watched him check his phone. Pace more. Look up at the building. Then he pulled out his phone and called. My phone rang on my desk. I let it ring out. He left a voicemail. I waited until he drove away, then walked out to my car, listened to the message. Jason, we need to talk. About Alyssa. About everything. I know you're upset, but this, whatever you're doing, it needs to stop. You're making a mistake. Alyssa and I, we're just friends. That's all we've ever been. These rumors, they're destroying both of us. Call me back, please. I deleted the message. The next day, Alyssa tried a different approach. She came home early with takeout from my favorite restaurant, set it up in the dining room like we used to do when we first got married. I thought we could have dinner together, she said. We haven't done that in a while. I sat down, opened the container. Thai food, green curry, my usual order. This is nice, I said. Jason, we need to talk. About what? About us. About what's been going on. I looked up at her. What's been going on? You've been cold, distant. I feel like you're angry with me. Should I be? No, I don't know. Are you? I took a bite of curry, chewed slowly. Why would I be angry? I don't know. That's why I'm asking. How's Daniel? I asked casually. She froze, just for a second. He's fine. Why? Heard someone vandalized his car. That's rough. Yeah, it is. He's dealing with a lot right now. Like what? Just work stuff. Office politics. Must be hard for him. It is. I nodded. Took another bite. Good curry. She didn't eat. Just watched me. Jason, if something's wrong, you can tell me. We're married. We're supposed to talk about things. Are we? I set down my fork. Because it seems like we haven't really talked in months. That's not fair. Isn't it? When's the last time we had a real conversation? When's the last time you asked me about my day and actually listened to the answer? She looked down. I've been busy with work. Right. Work. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Just that work seems to take up a lot of your time these days. It does. I'm on the advisory board. That comes with responsibilities. I'm sure it does. The rest of dinner was silent. She picked at her food. I finished mine. When we were done, she cleared the plates, and I went to my office. December 13th, 2 days before the gala. Alyssa confronted me in our bedroom. Why are you doing this? She said. Her voice was shaking. She'd been crying. Mascara smudged under her eyes. Doing what? I asked calmly. Don't play stupid. Daniel told me someone's been spreading rumors about us, about our relationship. Someone sent photos to HR. Was it you? I looked at her. Really looked at her. She was scared. Good. Why did you ever think I wouldn't? I said. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. She stared at me, and I watched the realization hit, watched her understand that I knew, that I'd known for months, that every smile, every lie, every late night had been cataloged and saved. Jason, she started, voice softer now, pleading. It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. We can talk about this. Figure it out. I made a mistake, but we can... A mistake? I laughed. It came out bitter. A mistake is forgetting to buy milk. A mistake is being late for dinner. What you did? That's not a mistake. That's a choice. Multiple choices, over and over again. I never meant to hurt you. But you did. And now you're going to face the consequences. What consequences? What are you planning? See you at the gala, I said, and walked past her out of the room. She didn't follow. That night, I laid out my clothes for Saturday. The charcoal suit, new shirt, the tie Alyssa had never seen. I polished my shoes until they gleamed. Lisa texted, "Everything ready?" I wrote back, "Everything." She sent another message. "No second thoughts?" None. Good. Because after Saturday, there's no going back for any of us. I knew that. I'd known it from the beginning. 2 more days. Then the world would know what Alyssa and Daniel had done. Then they'd both understand that some betrayals don't just hurt. They destroy. The anonymous tip to the gossip blogger went live Tuesday morning. Not the blind item this time. A full piece. Sources confirm that Daniel Patterson, VP candidate at Sterling and Associates, has been in a months-long relationship with Alyssa Mitchell, a member of the company's marketing advisory board who also happens to be married. Mitchell allegedly used her position to advance Patterson's career, recommending him for promotions that coincided with their private meetings at the Riverside Hotel. No photos. Not yet. But enough detail to make it clear this wasn't speculation. The blog post went viral by noon. Industry people shared it, commented. Some defended Daniel, called it a smear campaign. Others said they'd always suspected something. By 3 p.m., Sterling's PR department released a statement. We take all allegations seriously and are conducting a thorough internal review. Lisa called me. It's happening. Good, I said. Jason, there's something else. Someone at Sterling leaked information to the press, a real journalist, not just bloggers. This is going mainstream. Who leaked it? I don't know, but it wasn't me. Someone inside wants Daniel gone. I hadn't expected that. but I wasn't complaining. Alyssa came home early. I was in the kitchen making coffee when she walked in. Her face was pale, eyes red. "Someone leaked a story," she said, "about me and Daniel. It's everywhere." "I heard," I said, pouring cream into my mug. "You heard? That's all you have to say?" "What do you want me to say, Alyssa?" "That you didn't do this. That it wasn't you." I turned to face her. "Does it matter who did it?" "Of course it matters." "Why? Because you wanted to control the narrative? Because you thought you could manage this?" She flinched. "We weren't hurting anyone. Weren't you?" "No. This was between consenting adults. It had nothing to do with you." I laughed. Actually laughed. "Nothing to do with me? You're my wife. In name only. When's the last time we actually acted like a married couple? Maybe around the time you started sleeping with Daniel." Her face went red. "I never—" "Don't lie to me. Not now. I know everything. The hotel, the phone calls, the emails. I know about every single time you chose him over me." She sat down heavily in a kitchen chair. "How long have you known?" 3 months. 3 months. She looked up at me. "And you said nothing?" "I was gathering evidence." "Evidence? For what? A divorce?" "For this. For making sure everyone knows what you did." She stood up. "You're trying to destroy my career." "No," I said calmly. "You destroyed your career. I'm just making sure you can't hide it. You're a monster." "I'm a man who was betrayed by his wife. There's a difference." She left the kitchen. I heard her bedroom door close. Good. Let her be angry. Let her feel a fraction of what I'd felt. That night I went out, told Alyssa I was meeting a friend, drove to a bar on the south side, place called the Copper Rail. Daniel was there. I'd checked his location through a mutual friend's social media post. He was drowning his troubles with his buddies from work. I sat at the bar, ordered a whiskey, watched him in the mirror behind the bottles. He was drunk, louder than usual. His friends were laughing, but it seemed forced, like they were uncomfortable but didn't know how to leave. "This whole thing is nonsense," Daniel said, loud enough for half the bar to hear. "Some jealous nobody trying to ruin my life." One of his friends, a guy in a blue shirt, said something I couldn't hear. "Her husband?" Daniel laughed. "That tech support guy? Please. He doesn't have the spine for this." I sipped my whiskey. Let him talk. "Alyssa says he's been acting weird," Daniel continued, "but she can't prove anything. And without proof, this whole story falls apart." Another friend. "What about the photos?" "Could be anyone. Could be photoshopped. HR has to prove it was us." "But it was you." "Doesn't matter if they can't prove it." Around 10, he got up to leave, stumbled a little, drunk. His friends were laughing, slapping his back. One of them said something about bad luck. I followed him out, not close, just enough to be noticed. He saw me halfway to his rental car. He'd gotten one after the Audi incident, a plain gray sedan. "You," he said, stopping, swaying slightly. "You've been doing this." I stopped too, kept my distance, hands in my pockets. "Doing what?" "Don't play innocent. The blog, the rumors, the tip to HR. It's all you." "Prove it." He stepped closer. I could smell the liquor on him. Whiskey, cheap beer. "You think you're clever? You think you can ruin me?" "I don't have to ruin you," I said calmly. "You ruined yourself. She chose me. Get over it." I smiled. "Did she? Because from where I'm standing, she chose her career. You were just convenient." That landed. I saw it hit. His jaw tightened, fists clenched. "You want to take a swing?" I asked. "Go ahead. Give me a reason to press charges. Add assault to your resume." He didn't move. Smart guy, even drunk. "This isn't over," he said finally. "No," I agreed. "It's not. This is just chapter 1. I walked away, got in my car, drove home, felt better than I had in months. Wednesday morning, I got a call from an unknown number. Didn't answer. They left a voicemail. It was Amanda, the woman who'd vandalized Daniel's car. "I don't know who you are," she said, voice tight with emotion. "But thank you for telling me about Daniel, for giving me the chance to do something about it. He ruined my career, spread lies about me, and now everyone's seeing him for what he really is. So thank you." I saved the message, added it to my collection. That afternoon, Daniel's apartment building. I didn't go there, but someone else did. Someone I'd found through Amanda, another ex, a woman named Kelly who Daniel had ghosted after 3 months of dating. I'd sent her an anonymous message, told her where he lived, told her he'd bragged about her to his friends, called her desperate, said she was clingy and pathetic, suggested she might want to express her feelings. She did. By the time Daniel got home that evening, his door had been spray-painted. "Your garbage," in bright red letters across the white surface. The building had security cameras. They'd see Kelly, but they'd also see that Daniel had a history of making enemies, that he'd burned enough people that this could have been anyone. Lisa sent me photos, the door, the spray paint, Daniel arguing with building security, his face red with anger and embarrassment. "You're good at this," she texted. "I'm motivated," I replied. Thursday, Sterling's HR called Alyssa in for a meeting. I knew because she told me. She was shaking when she came home. "They asked about Daniel," she said, dropping her purse on the counter. "About our relationship. About the promotions I recommended him for." "What did you tell them?" "The truth. That we're friends. That I recommended him because he's qualified." "Did they believe you?" She didn't answer. Just poured herself a large glass of wine and drank half of it in one go. "They showed me photos," she said finally. "Of us. At the hotel. At restaurants. They have dates, times, everything." "Sounds thorough. How do they have all this? Who's been following us?" I shrugged. Maybe someone at the company. Maybe a concerned employee. Or maybe my husband, who's been acting like a stranger for 3 months. I looked at her. "If I had been following you, you would have noticed." "Would I? Because apparently I didn't notice you planning whatever this is." "This isn't a plan," I said. "This is consequences." She finished her wine, poured another glass. "They're going to fire me." "Probably. You're happy about that?" "No," I said honestly. "I'm not happy about any of this, but I'm not sad either." "What are you then?" "Done." That hit her harder than anything else I'd said. She set down her glass and left the room. Friday morning, Sterling announced they were postponing the VP announcement, conducting a full review. Daniel was placed on administrative leave pending investigation. The industry blogs ate it up. More articles, more speculation. Sterling's stock dipped slightly. The big client they'd been courting, a healthcare conglomerate called Wellness First, requested a meeting to discuss concerns. Everything was collapsing. Exactly as planned. Lisa called at noon. Daniel's lawyer sent a letter to the blogger, demanding a retraction. Will he get one? No. The blogger has sources. Multiple sources now. People are coming forward with their own stories about Daniel. Good. Jason, he's going to figure out it's you eventually. Let him. And then what? Then nothing. What's he going to do? Sue me for telling the truth? That evening, Alyssa tried one more time. She came into my office while I was working on my laptop, knocked softly on the doorframe even though the door was open. "Jason, please. We need to talk about this. Really talk." I closed the laptop. "Okay, let's talk." She sat down in the chair across from my desk. Took a breath. Her hands were shaking slightly. "I made a mistake. I know that. But what you're doing, destroying Daniel's career, destroying mine, that's not fair." "Fair?" The word tasted bitter. "You want to talk about fair?" "I know you're hurt. I know I hurt you. But this revenge thing, it's not healthy. It's not you." Maybe it is me. Maybe I've been too passive for too long. Maybe I should have done this months ago. Done what? Ruined everything? I didn't ruin anything, I said, leaning forward. You did. You and Daniel. You made the choices, had the affair, used your position to advance his career. I'm just making sure you face the consequences. It wasn't an affair. What would you call it then? She looked down. A mistake. A series of mistakes. How long? What? How long were you sleeping with him? I wasn't. Don't lie to me, not now. How long? She was quiet for a long moment. 6 months. 6 months. Half a year of lies. Half a year of coming home and pretending everything was fine. Did you love him? I asked. No, I don't know. It wasn't about love. Then what was it about? It was about feeling valued, appreciated. He made me feel important. And I didn't? You stopped trying, she said. And there was anger in her voice now. You stopped seeing me. I was just your wife, just part of the background. Daniel saw me. So you cheated. So I made a mistake. For 6 months. She stood up. I'm not going to apologize again. I made my choice. Now you're making yours. But don't pretend this is about justice or truth. This is about revenge. Pure and simple. You're right, I said. It is. And I'm not done yet. She looked at me like she was seeing me for the first time. Who are you? I'm the man you underestimated. She left my office. I heard her in the bedroom crying. I went back to my laptop. Saturday morning. Tomorrow was the gala. Tomorrow everything would end. I sent one final message to Sterling's HR. Attached all the photos, all the emails, all the evidence I'd gathered over 3 months. Everything laid out in a neat, organized file with timestamps, locations, and witness statements. Subject line, the complete record. Then I got dressed, laid out my suit, my shoes, my tie. Lisa texted, last chance to back out. I wrote back, not a chance. Then tomorrow we finish this. Tomorrow we finish this. I spent the rest of Saturday preparing, reviewing the plan with Lisa on the phone, making sure every detail was covered, every contingency planned for. That night, Alyssa tried to talk to me one more time. She knocked on my office door around 10 p.m. Can I come in? It's your house too. She came in, wearing pajamas, looking exhausted. Tomorrow's the gala. I know. Are you really going to be there? Yes. Why? To humiliate me in public? To make sure everyone knows the truth. The truth, she repeated. You keep saying that, but your version of the truth is designed to destroy me. No, I said. Your actions destroyed you. I'm just documenting them. What happens after tomorrow? I don't know, but we're done. You know that, right? She nodded slowly. Yeah, I know. Good. Then at least we're honest about that. She turned to leave, then stopped. For what it's worth, I am sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. But you did, and sorry doesn't fix that. She left. I heard her go into the bedroom and close the door. I stayed up until 2 a.m., going over everything one more time. The presentation Lisa had prepared, the evidence, the timing, everything had to be perfect. Tomorrow, Alyssa and Daniel would stand in front of everyone they wanted to impress, and I would make sure they never recovered. The gala was held at the Sterling Grand, a hotel that made the Riverside look like a motel. Marble floors, columns that reached up 3 stories, chandeliers that probably weighed more than my car. The kind of place where people whispered instead of talked, and every smile was calculated. I arrived at 7:30, fashionably late, but not conspicuously so. Lisa met me at the entrance, wearing a dark blue dress that made her look like she belonged there. Maybe she did. Maybe we both did now. You ready? She asked. I've been ready for 3 months. She smiled. Then let's go. The ballroom was packed. 300 people, maybe more. Suits and dresses that cost more than most people's rent. Waiters circulating with champagne and canapes. a string quartet playing something classical in the corner. I spotted Alyssa immediately. Hard not to. She was wearing a black dress, simple but expensive, talking to a group of executives near the bar. Daniel was beside her, not touching her, but close. Both of them looked tense, like they were waiting for something to happen. They were right to be tense. Phase 1, Lisa said quietly. The presentation. Sterling had scheduled remarks for 8 p.m. The CEO would speak, then announce the new VP. Except Daniel wasn't going to be the new VP. According to Lisa's HR contact, they'd postponed that decision indefinitely. But Daniel didn't know that yet. Lisa and I moved through the crowd. She introduced me to people, made me seem legitimate. This is Jason. He's in tech consulting, works with some of our biggest clients. They shook my hand, made small talk. No one questioned it. At 7:50, Lisa excused herself, said she needed to check something. I watched her disappear toward the tech booth in the back of the ballroom. Sterling's CEO, a man named Richard Brennan, took the stage at 8 sharp. Started talking about the company's achievements, the growth, the future. I positioned myself near the middle of the room, close enough to see everything, far enough to blend in. Brennan talked for 10 minutes, then he got to the part everyone was waiting for. Now I want to discuss our leadership team, he said. As many of you know, we've been considering candidates for our VP of Client Relations position. The room quieted. I saw Daniel straighten, saw Alyssa touch his arm briefly. However, Brennan continued, and there was something in his tone. Something careful. Recent information has come to our attention that requires further review, so tonight, instead of an announcement, I want to talk about integrity. Confused murmurs rippled through the crowd. Integrity, Brennan repeated, is the foundation of everything we do, and when that integrity is compromised, we must address it directly. The lights dimmed. A screen descended behind Brennan. He looked surprised. This wasn't part of the plan. Lisa had done her job. The screen flickered to life. At first, just a title slide. The cost of compromise. Then the photos started. Daniel and Alyssa walking into the Riverside Hotel. Timestamps visible. Different dates. Multiple visits. The room went silent. You could have heard a pin drop. More photos. Daniel and Alyssa at a restaurant, at a park. Outside his apartment building. Then the emails, projected for everyone to see. Not all of them, just the most damning ones. From Alyssa to Daniel. Can't wait to see you Tuesday. Wear the blue shirt. From Daniel to Alyssa. You made the meeting with Brennan possible. I owe you everything. From Alyssa to Daniel. Just recommended you for the VP position. They're listening. We're so close. People started turning, looking. I saw faces registering shock, recognition. Some people pulled out phones, started recording. Brennan was trying to signal the tech booth to cut the feed, but it was too late. The damage was done. The photos kept coming. The emails kept scrolling. 3 months of evidence condensed into 2 minutes of devastating revelation. Then, the final slide. A summary. Conflict of interest. Ethics violation. Betrayal of company trust. The screen went black. The lights came back up. Brennan looked like he wanted to disappear. Daniel looked like he'd been punched. Alyssa's face was pale, frozen. The room erupted. Whispers became voices. Voices became accusations. People crowded toward Daniel and Alyssa, not threatening, just staring, judging. I watched it all, standing in the middle of the chaos, calm, satisfied. Lisa appeared beside me. We should go. Not yet. I wanted to see them try to explain, try to escape. Daniel attempted to leave, pushed through the crowd toward the exit, but people blocked him, not physically, just by being there, by looking at him with disgust and disappointment. Alyssa tried to follow. Someone grabbed her arm, not hard, just enough to stop her. An older woman I didn't recognize. You should be ashamed, the woman said loudly enough for others to hear. Using your position like that. Alyssa pulled away, ran toward the exit. Brennan was trying to restore order. Ladies and gentlemen, please, this is clearly some kind of mistake. We'll investigate. It's not a mistake, someone shouted. I didn't see who. We all just saw the proof. She vouched for him, another voice added. Used her board position to push his career. The room turned ugly, not violent, but cold, judgmental. The worst kind of ugly for people like Daniel and Alyssa, whose entire lives revolved around image and reputation. I watched security escort both of them out, different doors. Daniel through the side exit, Alyssa through the kitchen, like criminals being separated. Then I walked over to Brennan, who was standing near the stage, looking shell-shocked. Mr. Brennan, I said calmly, I'm Jason Mitchell, Alyssa's husband. He stared at me. You did this. They did this. I just made sure everyone knew. This is a disaster. Our reputation. We'll recover, I interrupted, once you make it clear that you don't tolerate this kind of behavior. Once you take action. He looked at me like I was insane. Maybe I was. You're proud of this? He asked. No, I said. I'm just done being lied to. I walked away, found Lisa near the bar. Time to go, she said. We left together, walked out into the cold December night. Behind us, the Sterling Grand was in chaos, phones ringing, voices raised, careers ending. That was incredible, Lisa said once we were on the street. Brutal, but incredible. It's not over, I said. One more thing. She looked at me. What? I'm going back inside. I gave them 20 minutes. Let the chaos settle into something more organized. Let security restore some semblance of order. Let Brennan and his executives huddle in crisis mode. Then I walked back into the Sterling Grand. The ballroom had cleared out significantly. Maybe 100 people left, mostly staff and executives. The catering team was packing up. The string quartet had disappeared. I found Brennan talking to a group of board members near the stage. They looked up as I approached. Mr. Mitchell, Brennan said, his voice tight. I thought you'd left. I did. Then I realized I wasn't finished. One of the board members, a severe-looking woman in her 60s, stepped forward. You've done enough damage for one night. Have I? I pulled out my phone. Because I have more. Much more. And I'm trying to decide if I should share it with the media or just with you. Brennan held up a hand. What do you want? I want to speak, I said. To whoever's left out there. I want to tell them exactly what happened. Not rumors, not speculation, the truth. That's not... Or I can go to every news outlet in the city, I continued. Your choice. They looked at each other. The woman nodded reluctantly. Brennan gestured to the stage. 5 minutes. I walked up, stood where he'd stood an hour earlier, looked out at the scattered crowd of people who'd chosen to stay or couldn't leave yet. Someone handed me a microphone. I turned it on, heard the feedback screech briefly, then clear. Good evening, I said. My voice echoed through the mostly empty space. For those who don't know me, I'm Jason Mitchell, Alyssa Mitchell's husband. A few people shifted uncomfortably. I'm not here to cause more trouble, I continued. I'm here because I want you to understand something. What you saw tonight, those photos, those emails, that's not just about an office relationship. That's about corruption, about someone using their position to advance someone else's career because of a personal connection. That's about betrayal of trust, your trust. I paused, let it sink in. For 3 months, I watched my wife lie to me, every day, every conversation. She'd come home and tell me about her day, about her meetings, about her work, and every single word was built on a foundation of lies. Someone in the crowd looked down. Others kept their eyes on me. But here's what matters to you, I said. Alyssa Mitchell sat on your advisory board. She made recommendations. She influenced decisions. And she did it not because of merit, not because of talent, but because she was in a relationship with Daniel Patterson. She helped him advance. She vouched for him when he didn't deserve it. She compromised everything this company claims to stand for. I pulled out my phone, held it up. I have everything. 3 months of evidence. Phone records showing hundreds of calls. Location data showing them meeting at hotels. Emails proving she used her position to help him. Witness statements from people who saw them together. Brennan looked like he wanted to pull me off the stage, but he stayed where he was. And Daniel? I continued. Daniel Patterson is exactly what you all suspected, but didn't want to believe. He's a manipulator. He's had relationships with multiple women in this industry, used them to advance his career, then discarded them when they stopped being useful. You can ask Amanda Sellers, or Kelly Preston, or any of the others he's left behind. I saw a few heads nodding, people who'd heard those names, people who'd had their own suspicions. So here's what's going to happen, I said. You're going to make a choice. You can sweep this under the rug, pretend it was a private matter, minimize it, or you can do what you should do. Investigate thoroughly. Remove Alyssa from her board position. Make sure Daniel never works in this industry again. Show everyone that integrity actually matters. Silence. Heavy and complete. Because if you don't, I said quietly, I'll make sure every client you have, every potential hire, every business partner sees exactly what happened here. I'll make sure this story follows Sterling and Associates forever. And believe me, I have the evidence to make it stick. I set the microphone down, walked off the stage, headed for the exit. Brennan caught up to me before I reached the door. You're blackmailing us. No, I said. I'm giving you a choice. Make the right one. I walked out into the night. The cold air hit my face like a slap. I took a deep breath. My phone buzzed. Text from Alyssa. We need to talk, please. I deleted it. Another text. From Lisa. You okay? I wrote back. Never better. I walked to my car, parked 3 blocks away. The city lights reflected off the wet pavement. Somewhere, someone was laughing. Somewhere, music was playing. Life continuing like nothing had happened. But something had happened. I'd watched my marriage dissolve, watched my wife's career implode, watched a man who thought he was untouchable face consequences, and I felt nothing. No guilt, no sadness, just a cold, clean satisfaction. I got in my car, started the engine, pulled out my notebook, the one I'd been keeping for 3 months, flipped to the last page, wrote one final entry. Saturday, December 15th, Sterling Gala. Mission accomplished. Wife's career destroyed. Daniel's career destroyed. Truth exposed. Public humiliation complete. Final score, Jason 1, liars 0. I closed the notebook, tossed it on the passenger seat. Then I drove. Not home, not yet. Just drove through the city, watching the lights blur past, thinking about how strange it was that revenge didn't feel like I'd expected. It didn't feel hot or wild or passionate. It felt cold, calculated, mathematical. It felt right. I stopped at a red light, pulled out my phone one last time. There were 17 missed calls from Alyssa,